My name is Marilyn Niquinto. I'm an assistant professor in communication, and I also teach interdisciplinary studies across campus, film studies to be exact. The course has a very long name, and it's scoops, blogs, and something, but it's journalism, and that's how it's listed, and multimedia journalism at a kind of maybe basic to intermediate level. We try to approach journalism as it's not only a public responsibility, but it's storytelling. So regardless if they do it in print, or they do it in radio, or they do it in using video, that they're supposed to keep their eye on the idea that they're telling stories to the public for whom they have a responsibility. So they first started out the week profiling. Jimmy B was a typical Truman freshman that they had to profile, and that's who their audience was. And then they had Mabel, which is a long-standing one we've used, and she's like a Kirksville resident, so that they remember that everything they do is not what they want to talk about, but what would Jimmy B and Mabel find interesting. So first they had to profile the community, and then they had to profile these two, like what they were interested in. And for these kids, that was tough because they're not from here. So that took a lot of research, more than I thought they would. They probably understood they would do. Then they started basic storytelling, write them a short story about something. They went around, once they got to know Kirksville, we did a mini press conference with a mock mayor of Kirksville, we did different things. And then we moved on to doing radio readers of those same kinds of stories. They learned to interview, they learned to check facts and do research. Then they do radio packages. You're adding the layering of technology, and you continue to take them back to, but you're just telling stories. So we went, the first week a field trip was to go to the local ABC affiliate, KTVO, which was very exciting for them because it's a Truman alum who took a good hour to sit and talk with them about what she learned on the job and what she had learned at Truman. And they found that, very exciting because she seemed, as they said, she seemed to love to do what she did. And she explained to them, never let the technology get in the way. Remember, you're telling stories. I like being in the community. I like being curious. I like finding out what's interesting. And that seemed to appeal to them, to keep their eye on that. So when you kept layering technology, the following week we go visit a radio station, more technology, or they see, the ins and outs of using cameras, flash video, editing systems. You just keep coming back to the idea that, just remember what this is for. This is for Jimmy and Mabel. It's just a story. It might have pictures, it might have video, but you're giving them facts, you're checking those facts, you're checking again, and you're keeping it interesting. And if you just, I think the two preceptors and I, who spend a lot of time doing this, and the one preceptor is going to be the Truman coordinator for the convergence for the college level media. This is a good lesson to remember, is to don't get married to any technology because it shifts. And in fact, when we went into the field one day, we used an assortment of 5 different flash video, including flip video and someone's more sophisticated piece of equipment. Came back and they all had different access codes. We all tried to load, whether it was iMovie, Movie Maker. It didn't matter. It was, what did you get out of that? And what's the story, and the who, what, where, when, and what would Jimmy B and Mabel find most interesting about that? And they have now put together a print, a radio reader, radio package, a video package, a sound slides, and they've done incredibly well. And they've also learned about media law, media ethics. They went to visit a press secretary. We took them to the governor's office last Friday, and they met someone also a Truman alum who has become the deputy press secretary, so he explained how that works. Plus they went to KBIA and met Robert Siegel of NPR, and he explained things to them. So it's probably been a whirlwind for them of what they have, but I think when we revisit every few days, like, why are we doing this? Why is this important? And even today we watched the breaking news of the president, and how they watched how the media put it together very quickly. And they learned that whether it was a crawl, a blog, a tweet, a video package, a newspaper running a video package, it didn't matter what were all of them trying to go for, and that's to tell the story the quickest, most accurate way possible. They found most frustrating the classroom time in which they had to learn how to research, learn how to fact check, rewrite, because they thought they could just write and it would be perfect. I'm a good writer. I should be able to write that. And to learn about AP style layering, which is very difficult for grown-up journalists. That took a lot of patience, but now as we go to each new technology level, they'll go, first thing I'm going to do is think this through, or go do some research, and I'll do a script and I'll keep re-editing it. I'm like, oh, this is fabulous. The first week was very hard for them to just sit. It's long sessions, and you try to put cameras in their hands or quickly, but it is teaching them to have faith in their instincts, that they know how to tell stories, and that whatever gizmo they have in their hand is not more important than that. Just master the tech and go back and tell the story. So I think they've loved getting out in the field. They said in all of the, every day I ask them what's still confusing, what do you like, what don't you like? And most of it is they love the field trips, because they said they heard one thing out of all the 3 people they met outside of the classroom, is that all 3 of those people didn't know what they wanted to do when they were 13 or 19 or sometimes 22, but that they kept going towards something they loved doing. They loved the variety of their work. They loved the interaction. And you could see people that sign up for a class like this, even at this age, are drawn to that kind of dynamic. I don't want to sit in a cubicle. I don't want to do the same thing every day. And you could hear that from them. So they loved seeing one example after another of people who had made successful lives at this, but that, you know, we're still learning, we're still growing, and in fact, you know, we're still changing their minds because the industry still changes so fast. You first hope that if they want to be journalists, that they have learned maybe sort of the basics of it, to be enthusiastic about it, to love it, no matter if in 5 years they're using totally different technology. But also as to be media literate, meaning even if they end up as teachers, bankers, politicians, that they have a sensitivity to sort of a respect for the power and process of media, and that you know, the public is part of that, and then there's responsibilities on both ends. And I think also for them to know that they could be put in situations in which, and very quickly, because deadlines are part of this business, and that they had to make decisions, and they can solve problems. They know how to think about it, critically think about it, solve the problem, work in teams. So it doesn't matter what they go to do with this, that they will have taken those with them. And I think that's a very valuable thing to experience at their age.